want to talk about inoculation. I watched a video, a friend of mine sent it to me, and it's of this woman walking down the streets in New York, and a guy comes up behind her, throws a belt around her neck, pulls her backward, and starts dragging her down the sidewalk. Pulls her all the way in between a couple cars, and the description says that she was sexually assaulted. Luckily, you don't see any of that, but I can imagine he didn't just leave her there. And it was gut-wrenching. There was no blood or anything. It was just gut-wrenching. And I read the comments. I started reading the comments a little bit, and someone said, why would you show something this graphic, this violent, and, just for the heck of it? And then I started thinking about, okay, how can I use this? It was actually suggested, maybe you use this in a class to talk about self-defense, whatever. It could be an educational video. And I want to play it in class. But I also have resistance to showing it in class too, because of it's painful to watch. But what good are we doing ourselves if we don't inoculate ourselves to this video or these threats of violence? How do we really know what people are capable of, and how to not immediately just clam up when something like this happens? Imagine if you could see or experience violence and completely maintain your sense of emotion, control, abilities, skills, all of that. Imagine. That would be ideal. Do you think that's possible without understanding what violence is? And what level of understanding do you have with violence? I know that I've researched it a lot, and it was really hard to watch. But do I show this to students? Do I, for their benefit, this is good for you? Or do I understand that could make somebody want to leave the class? I think that, I'm sure you've heard me say this phrase before, your body can't go where your brain's never been. And one of the reasons why it's so easy to deny what someone is capable of, or you even being a victim in general, is because you can't visualize yourself committing those acts of violence. So it's really difficult for you to look at other people and expect them to do something you cannot even fathom. So for us good people who have a hard time visualizing violence or watching it, I don't know if you noticed, but body language is fascinating, guys, but I'm super uncomfortable talking about this, and it sucks because I'm uncomfortable because I'm not uncomfortable watching the video. It hurt, but I want to be comfortable with showing it to you as a student. I need help as a teacher to be okay with the gravity of this, to show you as a student. And like I said, there's not even any blood or anything in it. It's hard to watch. But let me rewind a little bit. Back to the concept of, it's hard for us to view what people are capable of. So it's really easy to be naive to potential violence out in the real world, because you can't envision yourself doing it. You're like, why would somebody do that? You wouldn't even think, you literally cannot even think of doing certain things because it's not even a thought in your head. Like, your brain doesn't go that direction. But there are people that literally live their lives this way. They wake up in the morning with, who can I take advantage of? Who can I get money from? That is their job. To go out on the streets and hurt people and steal from them and live life like a bad person. And if you can't wrap your brain around that, then you might miss it if there's something suggesting that it's on the horizon. There's another video I watched. It was probably the hardest one I've ever seen, and it still gives me, not nightmares, but I think about it ever so often. It's cringe-worthy for sure. So there was this guy that showed up to a house, and they were selling a hatchet, an axe. They had listed it on Craigslist, and so this person came to this house to purchase said hatchet or axe. I don't know what the difference is between those. Anyway, however, so this guy shows up, he's standing in the living room, and I guess it's like a surveillance camera or something, and there's like a young guy, maybe a teenager, sitting on the couch playing on his phone, and you see this guy standing there with this axe, just kind of like, messing with it a little bit, and just kind of like practicing swinging it, and, just feeling it out. He's buying it, right? So he's got to make sure it's a good axe. It's so weird to sell an axe on Craigslist. Anyway, so he's sitting here, and this teenager's on his phone, and this guy with the axe looks over at him a couple times, and next thing you know, he, I guess, doesn't like the fact that this teenager's on his phone, and he just swings his axe right on top of that teenager's head. And it's not even bloody. It's just so incredible how someone is capable of committing such a violent act of... It was surreal. And what happened to that teenager's body after he got hit with the axe, I think that's what messes me up, is because, like, I feel bad telling you this. I literally feel bad telling you this. His fingers curl up. You could tell, like, it's all brain, like the axe literally went through the top of his head, and he just and just falls over. It was nuts. So, what level of inoculation? I watch as many videos as I can to make sure that I'm well educated and I can give good examples and I can learn. It's a tough one. Your body can't go where your brain's never been. And I will tell you, seeing these violent acts, I don't tense up like I used to. And I'm hardened. Not even close. But there is a certain aspect of being inoculated to the violence that has made me not naive and a little more okay with my emotions when I do see something like that. So I like to tell myself that if I were to experience violence, I would be able to think my way through it a little bit more because there's not such a startle effect.